Welcome to another edition of Just Unsecure. Before we go ahead, I want to say thank you all to all the viewers. We still see all the numbers going up, and everyone that sent an email, thank you very much. We do really appreciate it. As we say, we always give you great topics, and today's topic is going to be something that everyone will definitely align with. It's a complete guide to cybersecurity for those of you working from home. So join us as we talk about cybersecurity working from home. As usual, I'm Babs and my co-host. So let's go straight into it. Cybersecurity for working from home. What are the key things everybody think thinks about? Why is it important? Like we all say, most employees nowadays are telling everybody work from home due to the corona outbreak, and obviously, working from home is now going to be more or less how we move into doing things. So more employees are being more flexible. You can work some days in the office, you can work some days at home. But why are we taking it as a topic? For you to work from home is another, should we say, is a security area that most people tend to ignore. The reason why we say this is working from home, we all assume we are secure, but that is where cybersecurity becomes more important. We need to take the leverage point and look at what we need to do to stay secure, not just for us, but also for our employees. Remember, what hackers and what malicious people want are data. In the office, you feel secure because you have maybe your security team, the IT team, you got the guard in the front office, but now you're at home. You don't have any security guard. Well, I don't, except you live in a mansion or you have your own private security, and you have an open network all around you. So today we're just going to talk about some things you need to actually take precaution and what you need to do to ensure that you're actually secure when you're working from home. So I think, hey, you want to start off? You want to start us off? What would you say is one of the first key things?
I think one of the things that we talked about, prior to getting into the call was okay. What are the things that you and I can basically on our head say? What should we take care of while we're working at home? I think we arrived at like 7 points. Like, yeah, this is the
Yeah.
seven most important things. And one of the things we mentioned was sticking to your policies and plan. That means your organization. Don't forget that you're working at home, not only for yourself, but if you are doing that for yourself as an entrepreneur, that's a good one. But make sure also, even as an entrepreneur or working from your office or for your organization, you adhere to the same security policies and plans as stipulated by your organization, because those are guiding principles, whether you're working from the office or at home.
I think that's a very good way to kick the cybersecurity or the security precautions you need to take. Like you said, everything starts with your policies from your organizations. I see your policies determine what you need to do and what you need to follow from a high level standard. And from your policies, you have your procedures, you have your standards. At the end of the day, what you need to take care of or what you need to be sure is that when you're doing things at home, you're actually following what is needed by your organization from a management. That's why I say the policy from a policy perspective. Just because you're in the office doesn't mean you should change the way you work when you're at home. So you allow the policies that have been created to guide you security wise from a working environment in the office. Take that mentality as well and take it into your home and ensure that that same mentality when you're working in the office in the organization physical address, you're taking it and working the same way in your space when you're working from home. So I think that's a nice way to start off
Yeah,
the top
yeah.
seven.
Let me bring it home for one example that is critical. When you're in the office, everybody say, "Oh, whenever you're off your desk, lock your screen."
Mhm.
Do you still do that at home?
I do because I'm always on my computer 24/7 site. So yeah. That's a very valid point. Most people just
As
get up, have
simple.
a cup of coffee, forget. Look, I'm going downstairs. Why should I?
Yeah.
Why should I?
Why
Why
should I
should I
lock
lock
my
my
screen?
screen?
Okay.
I'm the only one at home.
Yeah, as simple as that. So, but if you
Yeah,
put yourself in that culture, you'll be able to even move into other things that your organization see as
yeah.
strict about your security policies.
Absolutely. Another one I want to say is ensuring that you're using VPN services, like ensuring, especially so. Well, when we say VPN, so oh, do I need to get an external? No, there. If you're in your organization, well, so there are two ways to look at it. If your organization should always have a secure way for you to communicate within your organization. Then you use VPN services. Your phones, your laptops, everything should have a secure way of communicating, and you ensure that every time you start work, you're connected to the organization securely. Now, as an entrepreneur, if you are working by yourself, yes, you can have a VPN service that you buy your VPN service from. And same thing like for any other organization, as an entrepreneur, you treat yourself like an organization. You ensure that when you start up your laptop, that your VPN service that you've paid for is on, you're connected, and you're connected securely. So I always tell people, ensure that everything is on and is working appropriately. Sometimes we just switch on the laptop and just assume everything is connected, it's all good. And that is where malicious people are waiting for, because sometimes VPN services disconnect and you need to reconnect either manually or wait for a certain period of time for it to just connect itself automatically. At the end of the day, checking these things will help you to understand your environment before you start working. Like I said, it works for both professions who are employers or employees, and for entrepreneurs who have their own businesses as well.
Correct. So again, I'll I'll try to also say something about the VPN service. One of the things that you also need to think about is when you do log on to VPN services, for example, for your organization, you're also kind of protecting your home because you're separating that network also from your home network. I don't expect your organization to be affected by a ransomware, for instance. So if you are connected to your organization and you are affected by ransomware, your entire PCs, cameras, and everything in the house is protected because that network is kind of separated. But other
Mm.
ways, if you don't think you should use VPN, I would say find a way to separate your network from the house network so that at least you know that your things are your things and
Yeah, you
no
have to
longer.
like we say, segregate access control. This is more or less, and make sure it's segregated. Your home network should be different from your corporate or work network. Try to segregate it by using VPN services.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Another thing is to avoid public Wi-Fi. No,
uh, Absolutely.
uh, b- even before the work from home situation,
Mhm.
public network has not been have not been acclaimed the best place to actually connect to do critical or some special work services or pass critical data
Mhm.
or even do your banking operations for instance. So
Yep.
you should
Yep.
avoid that. But if you have to use public network or Wi-Fi, also remember, do VPN on it. Be on VPN
Absolutely.
all through. This is irregardless if you are an employee of an organization or you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I think this even leads us to the fourth security measures to take, which is ensuring that when you have your Wi-Fi system or any other system that is going to connect, that you remove the default passwords. Most people tend to think, oh no, all these things are well known, but you'll be very well surprised. You know, when you have a system, a Wi-Fi, firewall software, anything that you've just gotten, just ensure that the username and the password of the default system are always changed.
Changed.
Again, this is where malicious people are waiting for people to think, no, I just got this. Nobody's going to worry about the default username and password. But again, people are all over the internet scrolling for devices that are no come with default username and password. And if you get a system and you do not disable the username, the default username and password, changing them, you are definitely likely going to be involved in an attack, a malicious attack. So we always advise people, whenever you have for default username and password, the first thing you do, yeah, once you see that, once you connect, ensure you change it to something strong, something usable, and something you can remember. I know those words are difficult, but you have to be able to use. There are also what they call it, password managers out there that will be able to generate very strong password for you, and you'll still be able to use it anytime that you choose. Again, there are loads of them out there. I'm not going to mention any particular names. Just be the what I just wanted to say is that hackers are always around maliciously looking for easy wins. And this is an easy win for an attacker, malicious person to get entrance to any of your devices, to be able to steal data or own your system within your working environment or at home. So again, that is why we say always change default passwords.
Absolutely.
Oh,
You should extend that also. I think I'll also recommend that extend that to updating your firmware.
oh yeah.
Sometimes we forget that that router is sitting right there and we don't know the last time we updated it. And right now, while we think of patching organization system, we don't think about, oh, have I even patched my own router at home? So those are where even those 0 day keeps coming. So make sure you keep your router and firewall updated. Babs have mentioned changing default. That includes default configuration as well. So you have
Absolutely.
some UPN enabled, you have some things that are enabled. Just try to remove all of them. FTP, all of those small things, because those routers are becoming they are expanding right now in services. So
You even mentioned something just now, which people tend to fail to do because they work from home. Sometimes the organization sends out notices of updating, like you said, antivirus and things like that. People just, no, I'm at home. The reason why they send is because they know there's somebody out there trying to find loopholes.
yeah,
0 day
correct.
vulnerabilities are out there. Zero day attacks are out there. So when when your organization sends you emails or sends you notification to patch or to update your antivirus, or that is good to always do it ASAP than to just say no, I'll do it after in the next 13 days, because there's a reason they're sending it out to you. So always take every notification from the security or the IT generally seriously, and ensure that your systems are always up to date.
So don't just ignore the the alert. It's just
Exactly.
cancel, oh, update, oh, restart. No, I'm going to restart much later in the year. And please take it seriously. It's part of actually keeping yourself secure while working at home. Also, don't forget that this is all ties back to you personally as well, because you are right at home. If anything happens to your system at home, it's probably going to affect everybody down there in your home as well. Another one, which is, I think that should be five now. Yes, number
Yeah.
five. If you want to use work related security measures, please consider it, especially when it comes to encryption, multi factor authentication, and some other things. Please, this is the time to enable it. If your organization had not made it mandatory before, please go
Yeah.
ahead and enable it right now. If you are an organization, maybe you are just an entrepreneur, try to find a solution that help you to enable encryption and two-factor authentication. I think we have some encryption suggestion that will probably come much later in the show. So stay tuned.
Yeah, that I think that's one way to another way to look at it. I think Looking at another one, I'm trying to think of another area I would look at. I think we mentioned it earlier, but is the physical security within your workspace. So when you're working from home, think about, now you are more or less the physical security person. You need to think about how secure your environment is. Can you step out of your house for 6 hours or during your lunch break and leave your laptop at home and know that yes, it's safe at home? If not, do you need to lock away your laptop? Do you need to, there are things you need to take from a physical security perspective that you did not need to necessarily care about when you were in the office. So when you wanted to go for lunch break, your laptop or on your desk, you didn't really didn't need to care whether or not, if it nothing you
Yeah,
99.9% you never thought your laptop would get stolen in the office. But
exactly.
you're at home. If people know you work from home and people see you stepping out of the house, are you living in an environment where people know, oh, he's got a laptop at home? You living in an environment where people will say, okay, we can go snatch this. He has a phone, he has this. You have to also think about the environment you're working in. Do you need to have CCTV in your hallway? Do you need to have CCTV in your working space? Things like this are things people need to consider when they're working from home. I had someone ask me, "Oh, what if I can have a CCTV directly where I'm working from?" I said, "Look, if you feel insecure in your workspace at home, maybe you should, but your it will be good for your CCTV not to reflect what you're doing at work.
On your
So don't
screen.
let it read the screen, so that it keeps everything from your employees as confidential. It just monitors your environment in case something happens to the laptop, something happens to your phone. Again, not everybody has a not everybody has a space to actually have sit down and work separately. But again, it's just what we're trying to point out from this particular precaution is just to ensure that you are aware of your environment. Physical security cuts across both working from the office as well as working from home. So you need to take those into perspective as well. I don't know if you want to add anything to that. Or
Absolutely. I think you've mentioned the critical thing about physical security, and this cuts across where you work. So sometimes you have a very secure home. In most homes, definitely, most people have level of security. Some people have
Mhm.
external cameras and CCTVs and co. But in some area, not everybody lives in their own what you call home. Some live in an apartment. Lives. Some are cohabitating with some other people. So this is all that you need to take care of, that physical security around whatever you're working with and how to protect it. Some could be just lock the laptop on that desk. Just lock it with that, how you lock to your desk on the office, those cable, those that just lock it in. But you could also go to that extreme where you need to find a way to secure your camera, as to secure your equipment, as Babs have said. This is related to whatever you're working on. Right now, there's spot targets. Apart from targeting you over the internet, they are now targeting individual that they know they can actually get their adware directly to penetrate. So keep your physical security top notch. Encryption. Babs, go ahead.
Well, I think for encryption, well, from encryption perspective, I would say email encryption and electronic signing of all your documents to ensure that it's you signing it. And there's all for me personally, I ensure all my emails are always encrypted by default. So every email I send from work is always encrypted. And the emails I send personally, I try to encrypt the ones I can, depending if the person I'm communicating with also has a encryption enabled, or if we shared our public keys so that we can both have encryption. Like there's something called PGP, which is pretty good privacy. So some people know how to use it, some don't. So wherever I'm dealing with sensitive information or confidential information, I try as much as possible to ensure that we both use PGP, or if or if it's a work colleague, you just make sure that yes, the person has is what they call is encryption enabled, so you can receive mine, I can receive his, and we communicate easily. So for me, that is one of the areas from an encryption perspective I tend to do for me personally. And for those watching this, that is something I always tell people: try and ensure you're using encryption in your day-to-day working life, either as an entrepreneur or working for your organization. If your organization is not using encryption, I think is in this day and age is high time to tell them they need to get into the act of ensuring that things are secure and safe. Remember, data is a new oil, and what malicious people are trying to get is data. Data is information. Information is power. That's it.
Absolutely. So also encryption is Babs have talked about email encryption, which is that level of communication encryption. Of course, the VPN also helps you, but the VPN do not encrypt the data in between. So you need to be careful when you need to send highly sensitive information, top secrets, confidential information across. You have to ensure that at least there's a level of encryption, especially when we use public emails right now. And also you need to
Mhm.
sign. But going beyond that, is also encrypting your data at rest. Remember, we talked about
Absolutely. Yeah. Our
theft.
last episode. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, and also about theft of equipment as well. You know that if anybody steal or you lose your equipment, whatever it is, whether your mobile phone, your laptop, or whatever it is encrypted. So you can use your office delegated encryption solution, but also as an entrepreneur, we have some free ones for you, like VeraCrypt. You can use VeraCrypt to encrypt, including your thumbnails. Yeah, that means your hard disk,
USBs.
external hard disk, USBs. You can use VeraCrypt. So another thing that we want to suggest for people who are also using, of course, Windows and Mac is there are some defaults with Windows and Mac that you could probably use as well. If you can just to encrypt the data at rest, not to encrypt a USB or anything, but you can use that to do that. And for Windows, it's BitLocker, and for Mac is FileVault. So you can use any of this solution to quickly do the necessary things that you ought to do on that environment. And the last one that I'll allow Babs to talk about is also data backup.
So yeah, like you were saying, data backup is another key area that we should be looking at. And data backup, like you said,
Absolutely on backup. So don't forget that your organization probably have a method of backing up their data, but you don't have that method of backing your data. Your data is probably not covered. And I would never suggest that you back up your personal privacy data with your office. No way. Don't do that because what if you leave the office? Do you want to leave that footprint there? So you have to design a way to back up your data at home, your personal private data, because if anything happens, you know that at least you can restore and you can revisit your personal data. And I'm telling you, in a lighter mode, it could be ordinary the picture of your family, and you know, and you know you probably don't want that to end up somewhere else. And you don't want to be able not to be able to recover it. Those memories are precious, especially those of us that are parents. Those memories are precious, and sometimes we are sloppy about it, and we just leave that data lying, and we never have a backup of it. Even our disk that will back it up, we must make sure that we keep it safe somewhere, encrypted as well, because we don't want it to fall into the wrong hands. So we believe that we'll be giving you 7 best advice from us so far. Wow.
absolutely, absolutely. I think those are the top 7 complete guide on cybersecurity from working from home, and it's going to be definitely helpful for everyone watching this. So definitely, but again, we're doing another one next week that is going to cover more detail network. I think it's network security about working from home as well, looking at a network security angle of it. So stay tuned. You're definitely going to love that one as well. So
Yeah.
follow.
Yeah, we believe that because we believe that the corporate network has shifted from the office right now and have gone home. So we thought we should focus more on you and I securing our environment, our home network, much more to work.
Thank you all. And don't forget to follow us and follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and you can definitely email us at juteam@justunsecure.com.
Come,
And as usual, don't forget to
subscribe.
subscribe. All
Thank you.
right. See you all and
Bye.
thank you. Bye.